All right, guys, it is about that time. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to our March Leadership Academy. I hope you guys are excited about our time together. And if you're not, you will be as we get started in the next little bit. And it's crazy to think how far we've come. It seems like just a few weeks ago or last month that we were talking about Leadership Academy and what next summer could be like. And now we are 1 month away from our summer region kickoff. We are a month and a half away from the start of the Cutco summer. Many of you guys getting the keys to your own office in the next 6 to 7 weeks or less. Business plans, opening your own organizations, assistant managers, all the things that are going to be happening in just the next little bit. If you fast forward 1 month from now, we're going to be sending our first, God bless you, our first Facebook Jumpstart messages. Many of you guys are going to be running your first interviews for the summer, whether it's remotely or in office. And so crazy to think about that this is our last Divisional Leadership Academy before we transition to the summer kickoff and our divisional kickoff for the summer. Wow. Like, where has the time gone? I feel like it's so crazy that we're already talking about a month away from our summer kickoff, but lots of exciting things to come. I want to share a quick update with you guys since we were last together. So we had finalized some of the territories. We're still working on it. There's still a couple last little tweaks and things that are going on, but wanted to share with you guys officially, I guess unofficially still, but mostly officially, our lineup for the summer. So here's kind of a quick snapshot of what this looks like, which is pretty exciting. We're going to have our most number of offices that we've ever had in DC Metro, at least since I've ever been around in the past 17 years. But we've got Courtney heading up the Dom location here. We've got in the pilot staff, Sebastian as our sales manager. And we've got an awesome assistant manager team of Samantha, John, and Corey, which is exciting. There's probably a few more in there that will be added, but those are the official announcements so far. Anne Arundel County, led by John Godwin as the district manager, sales manager with Landon, and assistant manager staff. Oh, John Cabrera, oops, sorry. I was clearly copy and pasting there. Nick Shields on board there, and I know interviewing a couple others for assistant manager roles right now, but those are solidified. And then we've got Colin James in North Baltimore, and we have MK is coming back to be the sales manager this go around with a couple other AMs in the work there. Central Baltimore, we've got Chris Sterrett and then sales manager Anthony over here, which is exciting. We've got in Howard County, Dagogo Ibiebele, who just opened up in December. Going to Washington, D.C. This year we're going to be running, this is the first time we've had a DC office in 15, maybe 14 years. And he's going to technically be located in the Montgomery County territory. He'll be in Silver Spring, but on the Metro line, pulling from some of our DC zips there with potential of expanding that DC location. There probably could be several offices there in the future, but this is going to be our first one in over a decade, which is exciting. So we're fired up for that. We've got Heather Fitzgerald going to Frederick County, which we're excited about. Prince George's County, this is a change that happened as of this week. We're going to be transitioning Jorge Parra Perez back into the pilot as a sales representative, which leaves me with a decision on this one. But for as of right now, I'm going to leave Prince George's County open and take and kind of divvy it up, give some to Connor, give some to Howard County, give some to Anne Arundel County, and look to find the right fit for that down the road there. So we still love Jorge. He still loves Vector. He wasn't launching as many sales reps as he was happy with and we were happy with, and just felt like he was having trouble kind of getting his grounding there of following through with some of the things that he needed to as a DM, and felt like that this was a mutual decision to really transition him to the sales role, re-strengthen. We'll see what happens down the road. And David Amortegi is going to be going to Nova. We've got Kevin Garcia taking over the Southern Maryland territory, and we're going to be moving Jack Meyer to a remote office. So there's several of these that are going to be happening this summer. There's one that's happening right now and has been happening for the last year where they have 0 office location. They run 0 in-person meetings, trainings, etc. Everything will be done remotely. John Godwin actually has some experience with this already. He actually produced a Leadership Academy candidate who lived in, was it Idaho or somewhere, that sold over $10,000 for the summer. We have never met in person, never come into a Vector office. And Jack is currently training with the guy named Adam, who's running this similar sort of location now. Our branch lineup. So we've got 10 branches for the summer. We've got Leah Rock going to Harford County, running her office in Bel Air. We have Claire Parcells in North Wilmington. We've got Lydia going to Carroll County, Evan going to Cecil County, James going to Martinsburg, West Virginia, Becky going to Dover, Delaware. We've got senior branch Elijah Jones going back to Hagerstown. We've got Kayla Harris, senior branch, going to Newark, Delaware. Teresa Stabler, Salisbury, Maryland, and Charlie Guarini going to Easton. So this currently puts us at a 10 by 10 for the summer. So we've gone back and forth to a couple different, I can't sign away that this is the final. Not that your territory is going to change if I've already announced that. But just making some last adjustments to final zips and getting people in the right spots, etc. But this is where we are right now, and super excited for our squad. I am so proud to go to summer kickoff on April 12th and 13th with this crew of people, and so excited for our assistants, our sales managers, but most importantly, to lock arms with our DMs and our branch managers that are going into this summer. So it is going to be a lot of fun. We've got a fantastic team. And I want to spend just a couple minutes on just some recognition. And I know I won't hit everything. If you've got something cool that you want to chime in, just shout it out and share it with us. We'd love to hear. Or if you've got a buddy that you want to highlight and share something they've been doing. But just taking a quick look at our sign-in for today, want to recognize just some of our sales so far for 2019. So far leading the way, we've got Heather Fitzgerald at $9,500 so far for the year. So can we give her a round of applause? Nice job. And then we've got several people right at that 5K mark. So John Cabrera just shy of $5,000 so far for the year. We've got Nick just shy of $6,000 so far for the year at $5,900. Sam at $5,100. Leah at $5,500, Kevin at $5,900, just shy of $6,000, and Anthony at $5,600 so far for the year. So can we give these guys a round of applause? Awesome job so far. And savings. Today is our 2K checkpoint. So for those of you guys that are branches, districts, and even for those of you guys that are going to be a sales manager or assistant role, the goal is to stay on track with the savings, to start developing, working on these habits, regardless of what position you're going to be this summer, but continuing to make progress there. Heather at $3,000 in startup, Kevin at $4,500 now as a new district manager, Leah at $6,100, even using some for spring break there. Spencer back up to the 2K mark. Sebastian over $3,200 as a sales manager for this go round. So if you are shy on the checkpoint there, making sure that you add to your startup. I will be accepting, Spencer already turned in a money order, checks, money orders, additions to your savings for today. So 2K is the checkpoint for our March prep. Facebook friends, yesterday, March 15th. March 15th was our checkpoint for 1,000 Facebook friends added to your network. I want to highlight some of our leaders so far. I know Lydia is abroad for her spring break right now, and she's currently was in Germany and now Austria, but it was over 1,200 as of Monday. Heather over 1,100. Leah over 1,000, just sneaking in the assignment there. I know we have Kayla. I know you got here right before, but where's the total now, Kayla?
1350 something.
1350 so far for Facebook friends. So can we give our leaders so far for Facebook a round of applause? And if we're not at the 1,000 checkpoint, I know several people really close, but making sure that we get to that checkpoint as quickly as possible. Because 2 weeks from now, we're going to have our next checkpoint, and that's 1,500 by the time we get to April 1st. Assistant managers, for you guys too, you have an advantage. Many of you guys are already in your networks where you're from, and you can really challenge yourself to even go above and beyond some of these checkpoints. Many of the branches and DMs are starting their network from somewhere that they've never even been before and having to develop a foundation of mutual friends. You guys have an advantage because you've already got that base, and really this can grow even faster for you guys in the sales manager and assistant manager role. So excited to see some of our progress. We certainly have a lot of important work ahead of us. And if you guys even look on our chart here, we're not 100% on every checkpoint. And so you know who you are if that's the case, and we've got some work to do to get caught up on things, doing your absolute best and committing. I was sharing, Spencer and I were chatting earlier, Facebook's one of those programs where we can't just like spend one night and like pull an all-nighter and get caught up. It really is about hitting those checkpoints. They're there for a reason. They're there to pace us and help us, especially when it's a program that's more about daily discipline, weekly discipline, and continually adding as we go. So I'm going to keep challenging you. You have my commitment as your leader, and it doesn't mean that you're going to like me all the time, and that's okay. But there's going to be certain conversations or texts that I challenge where you are with some of your assignments, or I ask you to bring better performance or better results to what you're doing. It doesn't mean I don't love you. Doesn't mean I don't care about you. It doesn't mean I just care about your results, but it means that part of my job to be a great coach for you is to make sure that you're hitting assignments on time, checkpoints on time, and that I'm challenging you to be better at time management and results. And I'll continue to do that. And the best teams do that for each other too. And so I hope as you look at this, you don't say, oh, wow, we're doing a nice job. I hope you look at this and you say, wow, we're better than this, right? We're better than this. We can do better. Hey, we have another gear. Hey, this team is a really special team. And the type of team that I want to lead and be a part of, the team that I want to be on, is the team where we call each other out every now and then in a supportive, loving, caring way, but that we challenge each other to be at our very best. And those are the best teams to be a part of, because they don't allow you to just be in your comfort zone and your status quo and get behind or be your worst version of yourself. Those teams are really ones that allow your light to shine, right, Heather? The brightest that it can possibly be, and bring your very best to what you're doing and spread your influence. And so I want to challenge all of us, and I've challenged our district manager team this week. John can attest to this. Some of you are listening in, like David Amortegui and Connor, and that was just a portion of it. But on our divisional call on Tuesday, I challenged our team with our current results in recruiting. And I said, hey, this is not acceptable for this caliber of team. We are better than this. We expect more than this from each other. And it was followed up by a one-on-one call with each manager to make adjustments and accountability following that. And some of that will be the same this week as we continue to challenge each other, because this is the foundation period for the summer. And I know when we win the next 60 to 90 days, we win the summer. We win the summer. When a rep has a really solid, fast start and they get really good at the fundamentals, like closing and leads and dropping down, right? And the phone, man, that everything is easier for them moving forward when they get really good at that from the start. And so this next 60 to 90 days is so important for that, because so goes this portion. For most of us, so goes the summer. There's always those crazy exceptions, right? But it's a much harder way to win on a big level. I want to share with you guys the timeline of what we have going on. I know when we met in February, I gave you a February checklist, kind of what's next, what to expect. And I want to do the same for the next really 60 plus days that we have here, right? Leading into May, what this looks like. This is in the Dropbox that I shared with you guys earlier today. I also have a paper copy. So if you want to go ahead and take one of these, assistants, I want you guys to take one too. Sales managers, take one too, because this is the timeline that your office is working on for the most part. And you guys need to know, like, hey, what's most important right now? What are we focused on right now in my organization? You know, what's Brian Flaherty focused on right now as the new district manager, so I can really help to best support him. So this may not be a perfect list. This was at least my shot here at putting this together all in one place. We can certainly add and make adjustments. But past yesterday, 1K in Facebook friends. Today, 2K in savings were the checkpoints we just referenced. And the next checkpoints would be April 1st. I just mentioned 1,500 Facebook friends. Certainly that's not the goal, right? That's the minimum checkpoint. We have many of you guys that are pacing that are going to be well ahead of that, especially now that you have 1,000 Facebook friends in your network. Building the next 1,000 is going to be so much easier because you kind of learn the program a lot more. And now you also have so many more mutual connections. You're probably starting to notice that it's getting easier and easier. You're also probably getting more friend acceptances now because you have more of a mutual friend connection. The next things that we're thinking about was also your summer living situation. If you're living at home because you're working out of an office or your location is close, that's one thing. But if you're someone that's going to be away for the summer, you're getting to run an office that's not just in your hometown, that's exciting, and making sure we lock in a living situation. I know Lydia's going to be living in Carroll County and already got her location for the summer, her living situation solidified. Put a notice out on Facebook and is staying with a friend's family while she's there this summer. Love that that's already locked up mid-March for her. Collecting office furniture. So desks, chairs, we don't need much to get the office started, right? But collecting this stuff now, putting it into a basement or garage or putting it to the side, places like Craigslist, starting to work on, even Jorge will be up for grabs, right? So his office furniture, you could potentially reach out to him for someone that needs something. Some of your current offices have extra stuff. Everyone's texting them right now. Like, I know I wrote this letter. Poor Jorge is gonna like have to decide between you guys. We'll have to like flip coins. But you know, even sometimes your current managers, maybe they're upgrading stuff or getting rid of stuff, or they have an extra, you know, desks, or reaching out to past managers, past DMs, like maybe potentially a Bryce Zemer, for example, that ran a branch last summer. See what he's doing with his stuff, right? I have no idea, but there's so many creative solutions here. Last final, you know, when is your last final set? We've talked about in December and January being finished finals by May 1st, whether you're a sales manager, assistant manager, branch manager, a new district manager, working your absolute best with your professors, tying them into your goals, sharing what you're doing so you can be back and set up in your territory to be able to recruit the college students that are going to be coming home May 4th and 5th and 6th and 8th, and getting to recruit them for summer positions and build your team. We'll be the beginning, very late March, beginning of April for most of you guys as new managers, will be beginning of April is where you'll have a CAP session with me. And sales managers, this could be something that you even sit in on or a portion of it, right? Assistant managers. So for example, during John's CAP session for Anne Arundel County, I would guess he's probably going to want Landon to sit in for a portion of that, Nick to sit in for a portion of that, if not all of it. But what a CAP session is, it stands for Campaign Attack Planning. And really what it is we go through every aspect of your plan for you personally to make sure it's solidified. And so this is where we cover exactly what is your office schedule, right? So on a week-to-week basis, what times are you running interviews, trainings, exactly what you're doing, so you feel really clear on what you should be doing each time of the day. We go through things like every single one of your office expenses for the summer. And we look at exactly what's your break-even point. We look at your financials for the summer. We look at your active advertising plan, right? Your schools, which days you're going to which ones. So the goal by the time you finish our CAP is that you have exactly laid out your plan for the summer, and that your job is just to leave that CAP session and execute your plan for the summer. And so we'll be working on sections of your plan over the next several weeks on our 3:30 to 4:30 calls, the things that apply to us as a group. And then one-on-one in that CAP session is where we really individualize it for each person, each territory, answer any of the questions that you have working on one-on-one. And then just a reminder of what are the important skills, right? So if you guys remember, we've been talking about the Focus 5. Well, what are the things I need to know to run a successful office? I need to know advertising, right? How to generate touches. I need to know the PR program, how to get PRs. Today, we're going to be working on your PR names collection talk, right? As our drill for skill. I need to know the basics of the training seminar. You guys could already do it now, right? But it's basically like a big demo over 2 or 3 days. but the training seminar, specifically how many talks of training are the really important ones. The big
Six.
The big six, very good. So the big six training talks. So your intro talk, your names list talk, value and competitive cutlery, scheduling talk, dropping down, and then your PR talk, right? The big six. Fast start program, right? Basic fast start management of coaching someone to succeed in their first 10 days. And lastly, demo management. That's how to create demos on PDI, how to drive a phone jam, right? Those are the 5 things that we need to know. So continuing to work on those skills, whether you're local in an office, getting involved there to work on those skills, or if you're away at school, even utilizing things like technology, Vector Connect talks, using things like your weekly calls and training to continue getting better at those big 5 skills that we have here. Next checkpoint is by summer kickoff, April 12th and 13th. I'll give you an outline to a business plan that we'll be filling out together over the next couple of weeks. There'll be sections that you can fill out on your own, things like your goals and some of your vision, etc. We're already working on your office leases. We already have our first office leases turned in. So Charlie Greeny had an office lease reviewed by me. Kayla Harris has an office lease reviewed by me so far. Kevin Garcia just got an office lease that's being reviewed right now. So we've already got our first few office leases. I know Connor and David are going for additional office shopping tomorrow with Courtney, was my understanding. Leah's going tomorrow, office shopping, checking out some additional leads and driving around, checking out Bel Air for some extra ones. I know several of you guys are working right now with your managers to get that set up. I also put in here, you probably even need this maybe earlier, but if you don't already have a checkbook, getting one, right? So having a checkbook is going to be important because we're going to need this for you guys to write your security deposit, first month's rent, for you guys opening up your offices, for branches and districts, checkbooks, because we're also going to have some staffing, right, or help and future rent things and other things that you guys have going on. So most of the time, if you're a student, you can open up, if you already have an account, getting actually like ordering the checkbooks, you can do online in just a couple minutes. But for those of you guys that do not have an account, so I don't think most people probably have a checking account, but if not, you can usually open up free ones, places like Bank of America or wherever else you choose. So making sure you have that ready to roll. And then when we have your office lease, you'll complete an office opening form. It's super simple. It's right on Vector Connect. And that way we know when your first interview is. I'll help you with all those things, but you'll put that information in, which signals to Olean that they have your lease, an office opening form, and that officially opens your office in the Vector Cutco world with those 2 things. Continuing to work on your skills. And then by April 15th, 2K Facebook friends is our checkpoint there. That's where we'll start doing some Facebook messaging. Even if you're away at school, a couple days a week of just sending 50 messages. It only takes a couple of minutes. It's a copy and paste kind of thing. Some of you will even have a chance to start doing remote interviews. If you're already working in an office like the pilot or John's office, Colin's office, Chris's office, you'll be able to be interviewing, getting ready for the summer. And this is also where we'll start selecting some receptionists, doing some receptionist interviewing and training from that. April 30th begins the first official day of Cutco tabs. So that is the first day of the summer in the Cutco Vector world. May 1st is where many of your office leases will start. We'll get to move in, get set up, internet installed, and first in-office interview during that time. You guys also see the last column there is just some behind-the-scenes stuff that's happening that will happen without you necessarily doing a whole lot. But just so you know, from behind the scenes right now in March and April, what Vector, Cutco, your division manager, region staff, what we're working on is making sure you guys are supported. So right now we're doing things like ordering your mailer advertisements, right? So we're looking at making sure you get the right dates, how many based on your savings so far, your zip codes. We're helping to support with office shopping, making sure all the programs are final so we can give you direction on exactly what to do for things like your schedule, etc. and ordering things like your advertising, posters and business cards for advertising. We'll handle all that stuff on our end. We'll do all the things like Vector Live setup for you guys, text to schedule setup. They'll do all the hiring and training and staffing and hours and all the behind the scenes that goes into that. Things like office insurance and initial office literature that you'll need to your office. We've already selected and picked out all those things to go for you guys. We'll also do things like all your zip codes will automatically be funneled into your Vector Live, your web advertising, Craigslist advertising, all that sort of stuff is handled right now on our department's ends. So you've got a lot of support. And really, what does it break down to? I kind of try to give you every little thing. So if you're like, oh my gosh, this seems overwhelming, like how will I ever get all this stuff done? At the end of the day, this isn't, it's not that crazy, right? We're gonna make a business plan. We're gonna help you with it and give you most of the programs, and then we'll make any last tweaks that we need to. Continue working on your Facebook, and we'll get your office set up, ready to go. We'll do most of the legwork on that end. We'll just need your help on filling out a form online and checking out the territory a little bit and supporting in some of those places. But we've done this a gazillion times. We've done it for decades and decades. So for us, we have an exact system. We know how to coach you guys exactly through, and we've already started working on this with the checkpoints we've had so far. So this kind of gives you like step by step, every little nitty gritty thing. And the reason I'm giving this to you now is for those of you guys that get really excited and you want to work ahead, or you're just like, hey, I like to stay ahead of the game, which I know there's several of you guys in our Leadership Academy group that have been working that way. I don't want to limit you by just giving you one or two things leaving here. If you're already done a bunch of this stuff or you want to get ahead on other things, you can, and skip ahead to some of the other things that we'll be working on in the next little bit. So if you're like, oh my gosh, this list is overwhelming, no big deal, crumble it up, throw it away for a little bit, and I'll just keep reminding you as we go. Each week by week, I'll just remind you of what's most important right now, right? So the most important thing right now is for us to keep adding to your Facebook network. And number two is to keep helping your district manager with any office leads, etc., so that we can get that solidified as soon as possible. Those are our two most important things leaving today, right? So if we're bringing it back, that's what matters right now. So let me stop there for just a quick second. Any questions about the timeline or checklist that we're just covering here? Just being honest, anyone feel overwhelmed for just a second? Yes, you should. That's normal, right? And in fact, I want you to feel that way a little bit because it helps to create a little bit of a sense of urgency, right? And so sometimes when we're like, oh yeah, I don't know, and then all of a sudden these dates surprise you, right? Or some of these checkpoints surprise you. It's normal to feel a little bit of like that anxiousness or, man, I've got a lot going on. Even though I've been doing this for a long time, when I came back from Grand Caymans this week, and like on Monday, like I did my mental download, right? And I got everything into my planner. I was like, oh my goodness, right? I have so much going on right now. Like I still think to myself before every summer, I'm like, how am I gonna get all of this done? And the answer is, I probably won't, right? I probably won't get every little thing done perfectly. There'll probably be a couple things that go into May 2nd or May 3rd, right? Or aren't exactly perfect. And the other answer is, I'll figure it out, right? I'll make my plan. I got everything in place. I went beyond just this week, right, in my planning, and had to go out a couple more weeks and a couple more weeks to see everything was going to come together. But we always make it happen. And that sense of urgency or that little bit of anxiousness, I hope you have, because I want you to leave here knowing we're 1 month from kickoff and we've got some important work to do, right? And there is some urgency because April 30th is going to come, April 30th, whether we're completely ready or not, right? So doing our best to prepare between now and then. Since we were last together, I also, of course, have to give you like the mom update on life and what we've been up to. So many of you guys were there at the airport at BWI. Cardi B went on her first trip to Jamaica. So thanks to many of you that pushed your stroller, carried her bags, made her bottles, whatever else. This is outside of our room. This is mom-daughter trip. David Emertegi, thanks for the pics. Dude, swim up bar in the background, what up? She loved the water, like just absolute splash the entire time. Her and Aunt Courtney, sand for the first time via Lydia. So this is back home. She came home for just a couple of days, and then she got back on a plane and went to Grand Caymans. And this time Dad joined, so hanging out in Grand Caymans. She was so excited to get back to the beach. She was like, just kept pointing at it and smiling and going crazy. Aww. So this was a fun time to get like with the fam here. Court, of course, getting to hang out with friends. Katie Capone, Courtney, Ryan Trembler. Beautiful sunsets right over the water in Grand Cayman. So while Jamaica is fun, a region trip is one thing. A national trip with the company, next level. I mean, when you talk about signature experiences, it's that, right? I was sharing with some of you guys on our training call the other week, but the place where we stayed is right on 7 Mile Beach in Grand Caymans. So you fly in. This is one of the top 25 beaches in the entire world. I mean, beautiful sand, turquoise water, can see all the way down to the bottom perfectly. The place where we stayed had just been completely renovated. It was gorgeous. And if you look it up online, the Westin 7 Mile Beach, Grand Caymans, don't all do it right now, but I'll tell you, it goes for $800 or $900 a night. And we go for a week. How crazy is that, right? Like, just nuts. How many people do you know get to stay in like a $3,000 hotel room for like, as a branch manager, by the way, for this summer? Or because you ran a new little district office, right? Like you get to go on trip. Like people wait a lifetime to go. This is like retirement kind of like sort of thing. And I mean, just crazy. So they always have an opening event and a closing event. So at the beginning of the week, they have an opening event. The opening event was they had a fleet of catamarans show up to the hotel and take people to a private island where they hosted a party for the night. Bar, drinks, live music. I mean, just like all out. Took our catamaran there, our catamaran ran back. Like, it was like, I mean, just nuts. Crazy. I think it was almost 400 or over 400 people that we had on this trip. So imagine taking 400 people in catamarans to a private island. I mean, just absolutely crazy. Like, who are we, right? Like, oh, just pull the catamaran up here. Yeah, no problem. Thank you. I'll be ready around 5:30, right? It's like you and your private catamaran for selling your knives. And then the closing dinner was, and closing event was, they rented out all of Margaritaville. Like, just the whole thing. Slide, whole thing. I mean, open bar, full food, live bands they bring in. Just rented out all of Margaritaville. Just no big deal. Just, we'll take all of that. So I am so fired up for Paris for this next year. 7-day, your trip there, your accommodations. We don't just stay anywhere, right? Like, my husband, when he goes, I love when he talks to his family when we get back. They're always like, oh, how was the trip? And he was like, oh, well, you know, and he like gives the details. And I'm like, or like when he talks to his work friends when we get back, they're like, oh, where were you or whatever. He was like, oh, yeah, my wife took me to blah, 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 right? And like whatever next trip it is. I was like, oh, when we were in Rome, we stayed at awesome hotel. Like Julius Peppers was in the lobby. And I was like, honey, Julius Peppers, he's a famous football player. Like, there's always like famous people and wherever the hotel is. It's okay, Connor, we love you. I was like, honey, only the best for you. Like, he's like, dude, we stay at the places where like famous athletes stay. I'm like, tell back to rolls. Best of the best. So I'm super excited for that. We had a fantastic time. Check it out though. I just, I had to like hit you with a couple more. Look at this bikini though. The sunglasses, they didn't stay on. So we had an awesome Carter Winter first 5-star dinner with the Kellys. And then this is at Margaritaville. Check out the white pants though with the little white slip-ons. Seriously, how cute. Northeast region there. And so we kind of had a crazy trip on the front end and then a little bit on the back end. So it started with my husband. We had my family came over on Saturday right before we left for Grand Caymans. It was we were kind of celebrating my birthday, more importantly, just kind of getting together as a family. But my nieces and nephews love a birthday celebration. Anytime there's cake, balloons, whatever, it's a big deal when you're 10 months to like 3 years old. So everyone has their own balloon, everyone has their own, yeah. So we all get together on Saturday. Well, if you aren't familiar with children this time of year, what happens is they're all just germ magnets. They're all sick. They're all snotty. They're all puking. They're just filled with germs, okay? Then they go to school and they rub their germs all over each other out. And then they bring those germs home and they spread them to their parents. And so what happens is when my family left on Sunday, my husband gets dressed to go to the gym. We're having an awesome Sunday. We've got I'm like finishing touches on my packing. It's like 3 p.m. My husband starts vomiting. I mean, it's so loud. You can hear it through my whole house, even in the basement. I mean, it was crazy, right? And I was like, hopefully you just ate something bad, right? This is going to pass in just, some hours, whatever. I wake up at like 3-something in the morning on Monday because our flight is at 8:44 a.m. out of BWI. He is still vomiting, and I gave up my hopes on Grand Cayman. I didn't unpack my bags just out of depression and the fact that I worked so very hard to pack all those bags for everyone in my family, traveling with a little child. And I read blogs and made lists and right. I mean, it was a lot of work. So I sadly left the bags packed while I Lysoled and Cloroxed and God bless you and medicated and I did everything. Landed a few. Look, I even brought up the sanitizer from John's office today. And no, you don't have to get it in there right this So anyway, we ended up going 2 days late, which is still fine. We got 5 days in Grand Caymans. Well, on the way back, I shared with some of you guys, my daughter pooped everywhere, explosion, while we're going through customs. I'm holding my poopy baby like this as I go through the security line. I have poop on my Lululemon workout clothes, on my baby, socks, her outfit, her shirt, her everywhere. It's spreading because I'm like trying to contain it, holding her like this. My husband's pissed that baby's poop, and just angry. And so I'm trying to appease him. I'm trying to hold my poopy baby. The security line lady is like, I smell her. And I'm like, I get it. I get you smell her. So I'm in the bathroom, chucking all of her clothes, speaking to a cleaning lady in the best Spanish I can, which isn't that great, to get a plastic bag because I'm about to just throw all of her clothes in the trash and mine. And anyway, so we make it to our plane, our second plane connection coming home. We have an awesome flight. We're descending into Baltimore. My daughter vomits on my husband's shirt. While I'm grabbing her, she like cartoon style vomits all over his pants next. It was like, oh, like that kind of throw up, right? He was like, I am soaked all the way through to my underwear, right? And like, he's like upset, like, and I am laughing because like, what a great story, right? And I'm thinking to myself, like, this is just, there's nothing you can even do about it, right? So I love my husband dearly. He's like the even-keeled guy of like our whole family, and just like, he's an amazing, amazing dad and an awesome husband. And it's just funny when you see him like get thrown off, because it just doesn't happen that often. And the poop threw him off, and then the vomit all over him. It wasn't just a little bit. this was like full-fledged, looked like he took a shower from like here down, right? It was like a good 2.5+ bottles. And so I'm cracking up because I'm just like, so now it's 10+ p.m. at night. My daughter goes to bed at 7. She's 3+ hours past her bedtime. We're waiting for our luggage. We leave. And on the way to the airport, while my husband was still a little stomach buggy, right? We were blessed with the ride from our off-airport parking by the name of Calvin, was our driver, picking us up at our car and then dropping us off at the airport entrance. And that was at, 5-something a.m. in the morning. This is now 10:30, 10:45 at night. And who is our bullseye driver to take us to our car but Calvin? And what you need to know about Calvin is 65 years old. And at 5-something in the morning when we had him the first time, Calvin brought the energy to our 7-minute ride from a parking lot all the way to the airport. Good morning. And we're like, good morning. And my husband's like trying not to throw up still on the front end of the trip. And I'm like just trying to make sure we get everything from the car and stroller. We look like we're not coming back till 2021 with all the stuff that we have getting on this. And we were like, oh, good morning. He was like, that's not good enough. He wouldn't let us on the bus. Until we gave him like the energy, right? I was like, am I in a freaking Becker conference right now? Like,
get out, like, come back.
Right? We're like, I'm like, and he was like, good morning. We're like, good morning, and like, whatever. Well, Calvin is just sharing the love the whole way from the airport, right? And he was like, oh man, what a beautiful family, and who is this? And he's interacting with Carter, right? And blah, 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 and he's talking to Patrick, and Patrick's just trying not to throw up because he gets motion sickness, and he's got the stomach bug right on the way there. And Calvin just doesn't care, right? I mean, he is just bringing the energy, the love in a way that and he said, get ready. You are going to be Calvinized. I just loved the whole thing, right? And like, he's right up my alley. Like, Calvin and I are just like, we're jiving, right? We're jiving. So 10:45, my husband's covered in vomit, right? We finally make it through. Poopy shirt, I've got, right, whatever. So 10:45, Calvin is there again. I'm like, does this guy work 24/7 or what? Of course he greets us. Patrick, like, it's 7 days later, right? He's probably taken hundreds and hundreds of people. Patrick, Carter, how was your trip? I was like, I'm impressed, right? Now I'm impressed. So he was like Calvinized. He made me look him up on Facebook on my way there, read an article about him, right? All this other stuff. But I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, right, whatever. And we that Patrick, Carter. I'm like, okay, well, I'm a little impressed now, right? How was your trip to Grand Caymans? Blah, 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 right? Like, just awesome. And then this is just one of those things where there's like that just one of those divine interactions, right? And so my husband kind of has a little bit of, obviously he's not super excited, right? He's thrown up on my daughter's, whatever. I'm still kind of laughing. And this is probably even more annoying. And Calvin says, man, how blessed are you guys? Did you hear about that flight in Ethiopia? Oh, yeah. He said, wow, what a blessing that y'all made it back so safely. And a tear started forming in my eye because I was like, wow, perspective, right? He said, you know what? You're going to be Calvinized. He said, the reason, you know why I'm like this? I said, no, why? And like, if you didn't give like a full, like, if I was like, oh, why? Like, he was like, y'all didn't hear me. Do you know why I'm like this? We're like, why, Calvin? We had to like participate fully. Like, you couldn't be in a bad mood or like half-tailed Calvin. He said, because you know how many nasty people I interact with on a regular basis doing this job? He said, the reason I'm this way is because this is my way to spread love to every single person I come in contact with. Every single day. Because this world needs a lot more love. And I thought, man, this is awesome, right? He said, I might retire next year. Can I get a picture with you? So he took this picture with Patrick, vomit and all. You look closely. This was a shirt we put over the top of the shirt that was also covered in vomit, but like, check out the pants here even, right? Oh yeah. Yeah. So it was one of those moments that it was exactly what you needed. And it was such a great reminder that you never know exactly what someone needs to hear. It's also a great reminder that to change the world, it doesn't necessarily have to be on this quote unquote humongous platform, right? Where it's millions of people that you're impacting on a daily basis. But how important the work we will do now in this summer really is. I've shared with you this goal of 1,500 people in our division impacted. But I think about our leadership in the next 30 to 60 days, our leadership this summer. Can you imagine if we all bring that same energy and intention like Calvin does to every interaction, driving the bullseye transportation from the offsite parking at BWI at 65 years old? Can you imagine if each of us bring that kind of energy and love to everything we do this summer? What a difference we can make. It's been a week and I'm still thinking about Calvin, by the way. You want to know how it ended?
Yes.
So I gave him a tip at the end, and like, of course, if you get like a soft spot to my heart, like, oh, just, yeah, anyway. So I tried to tip him discreetly without my husband seeing, and Calvin looked at it before he got back on the bus, and he said, "Oh, whoa." He said, "I have something for you." And he went back to his bus, and he had a lottery ticket. I'm not huge into like the lottery or anything like that, but every once in a while we like to play just for fun in my house and like do the whole like, we won the lottery, like what would we, so the Powerball was like $420 million or something like that this Wednesday. It was a ticket for Wednesday, and on it says, "Hello, goodbye, beautiful, thank you, $1 million." And so he had, I guess, I don't know how many, but lotto tickets to give out to some of the people that he was toting around on the bus the last couple of days. I really thought I was going to win, by the way, because I'm like, this is one of those stories that you hear about. And you wanted me to text him the picture, so I got his number, and I was like, dude, when we win the Powerball, I'm going to text you. I'm going to hit you up so we can make sure we split it. I didn't win. But, yeah. No one won, though, so I'm saying there's still a chance. Still a chance. Who knows? But when we think about this concept of recruiting obsession, it's not just about a number. It's not about hitting a certain recruiting number goal, right? Even though that's how we talk about it sometimes. It's not just about building a certain amount of people on your team or so you can hit a certain sales goal. I mean, this recruiting obsession is really about spreading the love. It's about how many people can we share this amazing opportunity with, whether it's been about personal growth, whether it's finances, whether it's about building someone's confidence, public speaking. I don't care if they're here for a couple of weeks, several months, years, or build their career here. I believe 100% in what we do and this place and what it's all about. And so when you hear us talk about recruiting obsession, I don't want you to get confused. It's about just working to hit a number. It's so much bigger than that. It's so much more than that. And just a reminder of what our mission is as a division. It's to provide the best personal, professional, and financial opportunity for young adults in the DC metro area. And you all play a role in that, regardless of what exact position you're playing this summer. For anchors, the way that we do it isn't just any way, anyhow, right? And I want to be very upfront about that. Number one is true professionalism, is that we do right by people. We're honest, not just when people are watching, but always. And it doesn't mean we can't make mistakes, but when we make a mistake, we own that mistake, we apologize, and we do our best to make it right. I don't want to be a team that just wins. I want to be a team that wins and is respected, and we do it the right way, and we feel really good about it. That's so important. Number two is explosive team building, that we really believe in our heart of hearts is sharing the opportunity with everyone. And that means the person we talk to at Panera. That means the person that we're talking with when we're at a family party and they're sharing with us their situation. And hey, that we bring up the opportunity here because we believe in it. That we have plans of our kids selling Cutco because we know in our heart of hearts that this is the best opportunity for young people to really grow. High standards in sales performance. And this applies to everyone. District managers, branch managers, sales representatives, CSPs, division managers. That, hey, when one of our fellow members are not performing at the level. Even though we love them, we have to challenge them on those. And if someone's not going to get the job done, we've got to create a space for someone else to come in and do it. And we do that in the most loving way possible. But it means that we have a high standards of sales performance. It means that we elevate for push weeks. We show up even bigger when it really matters and when the company asks us to. An aggressive pursuit of growth, that we're really focused on becoming better. That we are vector trained and that that's special and that that means something. Talked about growing by $1 million in sales this year. And that's really a byproduct of this personal and professional growth. But what comes of that when that happens? You know, building something special and an organization that's competing and thriving and continuing to grow. This will be our 3rd year in a row of growth. But $1 million will be our biggest growth from one year to the next. We talked about this concept of 10 by 10 starting 3 years ago, but having that longer term vision. And this year we're there. I don't know what will happen between now and May 1st. I don't care if it's 9 by 10, but the point is that we have a bigger vision of where we're going, that we're working on something. This is the biggest team we've had, but it means that there's area of opportunity. I don't know what next year is going to look like, but I know we've got markets that aren't fully taken advantage of yet. I know that there's opportunities with new changes that we've made, and that's exciting. The goal is for you to continue to be a 5-star recruit. For those of you that are in school and you're running an office this year, or you're an assistant manager or a sales manager, is that you're building with your experience this year to be that 5-star recruit and continuing to add to that. And for those of you guys that are district managers, if you decide to go somewhere else, that you're going to be a 5-star recruit there. And for people that you're going to be in this for the next few years, is that you're developing 5-star recruits and helping people, the next layer, to become 5-star recruits as we go. I want to cover with you guys how we will work on some of these things today. And our agenda today is going to be mainly formatted in group work, partner work. You're going to see a lot of hands-on stuff. Not as many talks today, more kind of digging into actually practicing and working on things together. So I want to give you a quick overview of what this looks like. First thing we're going to do today is building a dream team. This is going to be a recruiting exercise, and this will be a competition that we will work on together. And this is brainstorming and looking at different ways of manager influence on recruiting, since that is going to be the most important step as we're getting started. In fact, we've already started working on it with Facebook Jumpstart. We'll take a lunch break at 12:30. At 1:15, we'll come back together. Key result areas. John Godwin's going to walk us through on how to look at the business, right? What are the key metrics that we should be measuring and looking at in running the business? This is also very important for our sales managers, assistant managers, for you to understand how the business works, right? And how do we measure that? What do we look at? And how do you make tweaks and adjustments, right, when something's not perfect? We'll transition into drill for skill on PR names collection. Recruiting, right? So once we have people in training, continuing to grow that. Facebook Jumpstart best practices. We have Kayla Harris and David Amortegui who are going to lead us through sharing some of the best things that are working right now in friending. They're going to show you what they're doing. This will also be a great place to ask each other questions for those of you guys that need help on this, and sharing some of the tips of what they're doing to really succeed here. Then I've got a fun Silver Cup scenarios for you guys. That section will be some scenarios that I've developed. Some of that will be a promotion in motion that we're going to work on together as a squad. And we'll wrap up today with Miss Leah Rock, Harford County Branch Manager, sharing her 2019 and her 2020 vision to adjourn here this afternoon. So excited. We've got a fun-packed agenda for today. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are too. Just a reminder of what we take away from this opening session. Number one is we are in a time where, hey, we're a month away from summer kickoff. We've got some important work here. While I want there to be urgency, at the same time, we've got a plan laid out, and all we need to do is just keep following A, B, and C. We've started on the path already. We're pacing there nicely, but I need to make sure that we're continuing to hit checkpoints and assignments accordingly for that. It's okay to feel a little overwhelmed. That's all right. That's normal. Sometimes that's good because it gives us a little pressure and urgency for getting things done. At the same time, there's no need to like, throw your arms up and stop it. Like, we've done this a gazillion times. We'll get it all done or pretty close to it, and everything will be just fine. It always is. Most important things right now are continuing to work on your Facebook Jumpstart plan and continuing to help in your office shopping to make sure we get those two things solidified. Those are the two most urgent things leaving today that we'll focus on. Recruiting obsession isn't just about recruiting to recruit to hit a number. It's really about your influence, what we can really do this summer that's exciting. And so I want us to keep that in mind. As you see, most of our agenda is recruiting focused today. That's really the bigger picture. So let's have an awesome day today. With that being said, I'm going to transition to our first exercise for today.